Namaste and good morning to all of you. I'm just having these thoughts on the upcoming handstand course, and I thought I will start sharing with you. So, any movement, any position, any workout, it doesn't interest me purely for its own sake. So, what interests me deeply is when I find that when I work on that particular movement or particular skill, it serves me in a larger context than just get me the skill. So that's where the yoga comes. And when we do the handstand practice, it's not very different. It's not going to be anything very separate from yoga with whatever you are going to learn from me. So yoga, in a simple way, we can say that it is about connecting to the patterns of the universe, which we call as Maha. And then we become aware of patterns of the individual, you as an individual, which we call Aham. And then see how we can allow this interpenetration of the universal patterns into individual patterns, to allow that merger to happen, so the universal patterns can really express freely through your individual patterns. So that is a context which I find quite applicable in handstand practice. So for example, today morning you got up, maybe you got out of the bed and walked to bathroom or walked to the other room. What I want you to start watching from today is your walking. Because walking, you got universal patterns. Most of the animals, they walk, except if they are of the crawling types, but human beings are all walking, and even four-legged animals, they walk. Now, when you walk, what you have to see is the displacement of the center of mass. So let's say you're standing. The center of mass, we can roughly put it to the pant belt area. Where you put the belt, that is roughly the center of mass. If that gets shifted, so when you walk, you're not raising a leg like a calorie leg raise. You are first moving the center of the mass forward, and then what's happening is you're falling. And to prevent the fall, before you know it, the universal patterns, it takes your foot, which is the base of support, it takes it forward a bit in front of the pelvis, the center of mass, and then you're balanced. So that keeps on happening. So walking is actually a series of falling and then the universal patterns getting quickly in to prevent that fall. So we move as a series of falls. Now, this week onwards, I want you to become very aware of this walking. So as you walk, as one foot, as the center of mass goes forward and you're about to fall, you have to find that leg comes in front. And then what happens is pelvis, your ribs, your shoulders, your head, everything moves as one held piece over that base of support. So the pelvis, ribs, head, everything moves together. So it's not like you walk where you put a foot there, then the pelvis goes, where the head is behind, then you can't walk like that. So the universal patterns of walking has a lot to teach us in handstand. So start training this, seeing the universal patterns, and then we bring it to individual patterns of movement. In this case, it's handstand. But we have to see the universal pattern, bring it here, and then the whole practice is in service of, again, connecting to universal patterns, connecting to individual patterns, and whatever individual pattern is obstructing the free flow of the universal pattern into the individual, that we remove. And so these are the things I want you to consider this week. Be aware of your walking. Be aware of your center of the mass, that pelvic, that pant belt loop area, the movement of that, and see how the ribs go along with it. It doesn't fall back, how the head goes along with it. And I would like you to walk with the arms raised overhead, and then walk. And then you see that is a little bit more difficult, but everything still moves together. And occasionally I want you to freeze the movement, and that is a position. So everything is movement, There's a start, there's an end, and there's a transition in between. In this transition, if you can just hold it, then that becomes a position. So it's a transition which becomes a position, and that we will explain in other clips I will share with you. So guests, this video is already a little bit long. Please consider all these. Walk with arms up, see how the pelvis, ribs, everything move as one unit, and occasionally freeze yourself in that center position with the arms overhead, and just see how the arms are in your natural walk, in your natural arm held up walking position. Okay, namaste, have a good Sunday.